Hi guys, it's Gilly Hunt here with the first of a little set of Yay It's Staying videos based on the fact that we have a new catalogue starting on the 1st of May, and I'm just going to look at some of the ones from this current catalogue that I am so delighted are moving on through and coming up again and being available still in the new catalogue. So this is one of my favourite sets, and yay it's staying. So I thought I'd show you two that I've made a little while ago. So It's a Good Man is the name of the set, and they're still available from my blog and shop at Gilly Hunt. I made two cards fairly recently, which I've already blogged about and YouTubed. One was a double, let's show it from the side. One which was a double easel card. And there's your front one, Relax Your Way, and there's the back one, and I'll just push it over, oops, so that you can see. It's quite hard to show you this because it's three-dimensional, so it doesn't show terribly well on a flat screen. And then a happy birthday, really lovely simple little card using the Stampin' Up to get this really nicely pasted and stepped out text in the background. And I thought I'd show you those, but I would also have a go at a new one today. And so all we're going to do is take a really simple approach here. We're going to take a simple folded, and this is actually the note cards, so it's 3.5 by 5 once it's folded. So you'll need to do a 5 by 7 inch folded down the middle. Okay, and then I'm not going to tell you the precise measurements for these two, because I'm going to show you how I do my measurements when I'm wanting to mat and layer, which means matting and layering means simply making what we call another mat. So that's one mat and that's another mat, and they go on top of one another to make the layers. So it's matted and layered. Okay, that's all that matting and layering means. Now I tend not to do them by actual specific measurements. So let's just bring in my trimmer. What I tend to do is this, and I suggest this for everybody, because we can all get carried away with, is it so many 1/16 or 2/16 or 3/16 or 2/8, or is it, and I get in a complete jumble. So what I do is I say, and I'm going to bring on my little magic arrow because then I can point to things for you. So I'm going to measure my card, and I know that my card is 3.5 inches. So there it is. I've put my little arrow in place. That's the 3.5 point. And I want the black, which is my first mat, to be just a little bit smaller, but to give me a nice little amount around the edge. That's a nice even amount around the edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this measurement and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 parts down, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you whether they're 16ths or 18ths or whatever, but just 4 marks down. So there, that's where we started. That's how big the note card is, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to use that as my measuring point for my black card. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going with it the lengthways. So I know it's 5 inches long, so there's my 5-inch point, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and it actually brings it to 4 3/4, but we're not interested in it whether it's 4 3/4 or not. All we're doing is counting 4 down, and that's where we're going to cut the next piece. And the reason I do it that way is because I know that to have a count of 2 gives you a tiny little gap, and a count of 4 gives you that kind of a nice edge. Okay, so it doesn't matter then where you start, whether you start at 1 1/8 or 2 3/4 or whatever. If you just count down 4 paces, you know you're going to be right. And then I'm going to take the white and I'm going to count a further 2 points down and cut. So there's my 2 points down, and the same on the width, and that then gives me a really tiny little, and I'll just put these together. There you go. It gives me a slightly bigger outer edge and then a little tiny edge. And that's a really easy way of just doing it, okay? So that's how I do mine. You do yours however you like, but that's how I do mine. So let's take the middle piece, which is what we're going to use. And I'm going to introduce you to this fabulous creature. This, in the catalogue, looks like a sponge on a stick. It is not a sponge, it is something much more fabulous. If I just pull this to one side, I'm trying to get this nicely in focus for you. It is actually a very, very soft, can you see the bristles? It's a brush. It's very, very, very soft bristled brush, and I mean soft. It's like stroking the cat. Okay, it's so soft, but they're tiny little bristles and they're all beautifully graded. And because of that, they give you the ability to blend beautifully. So we're going to do some blending with that in a minute. The first thing though we're going to do is we're going to take our Memento ink, and we are simply going to, I've already mounted this up, and I've taken the lovely image from The Good Man, A Good Man, which was the set we had, and I've taken that lovely image of the child on its father's shoulders, and I've also taken one of the phrases, which is, you do a great job of being a great guy. And I like to do mine sideways because it's a big block and I find it easier just to kind of eye it up sideways. I don't know why, sounds silly, but now I don't have to press madly and desperately and heavily, but because it's a big one, I do want to just make sure I've got everything all the way around. And I need to leave it long enough for the ink to settle. So there we go, nice, neat, smart image. You do a great job of being a great guy. And what I have done is I've stamped that image one more time on a piece of plain copy paper. And then I have cut it out. Okay? And I'm going to stick that down on there. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put just a small piece, and I mean a small piece, of tear tape on the back. Now, if I now stick this down, it will all stick to the paper and we'll never get it off again. So I'm now going to give it a good up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down with my fingers, which are a bit greasy, a bit dusty. They've just been around a bit. So just do a few bits until it eventually, you can almost hear that the stickiness starts to go. And you might want to just put it on the palm of your hand. You might want to put it on your jeans just to pick up a bit of fibre, but what will happen is that's no longer really sticky, it's just tacky. And that's what we want. We want it to be tacky but not too sticky. Okay, on it goes. Now you can pick up the ink directly onto your brush if you wish to. I don't like doing that because I don't like taking from my ink pad, I don't like taking the ink off it because it takes a little while for it to recover and you end up with a few sort of dark patches and light patches. So I like to put my ink onto a block and then pick it up off the block. Okay, and all I'm doing is just rolling the brush around and around until it picks up all these lovely bits of ink. There we go, and it's a lot darker than it was before. I'm going to just bring in a little bit of paper and just check that I haven't got any funny little patches. So just give it a little whirl, which means that if there was a little block of ink in one specific spot, it just takes that out. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I am just going to hold onto this and just very gently, and to start with you'll think, oh, it's not doing anything, it's not doing anything. What is Jilly doing? It's hardly... Can't see anything much. Can't see much. Okay, I'm just going to go round and round in a kind of an oval shape. All right. And now you'll be surprised because it almost looks like I've done nothing until I take away the little sticky piece we had before. And now look what happens. That blue is so very gentle. That lovely blurred background, which is Pool Party I've used, has now allowed the white to really punch through. And all I'm going to do is stick the whole lot together. And I'm going to stick it using some tear tape. And I'm going to show you one of my other little tricks, I suppose. It's a very common trick. It's not my trick. I don't know where I learnt it from. Many hundreds of years ago when I first started card making, somebody showed it me the same way as I'm showing it to you. But what I do is I put the tear tape all the way around the edge, and then I just pull off a corner. And this is sometimes the hardest part of card making, I think, sometimes getting your nail underneath. If you don't have nails, then I suggest you just use a little spike or a little pin or a pick tool, whatever. I have just enough nail to do it. But what I'm doing is I'm just pulling back the corners, and only the corners. The reason is this. I don't want this to stick down straight away because I might not get it straight. So I want to be able to move it. And because only that corner is exposed, it really allows you to use the other two corners and to push down on those and move them around until you get it lined up where you want it. And this is quite hard underneath the camera because sometimes the cameras bang overhead, as you can imagine, which means my head can't be. So sometimes I don't get it quite straight. It's not too bad. And I'm going to do the same on this one. So again, all I'm doing is putting the tear tape nice and near to the edges. And this, to my mind, although I don't always use this when I'm demonstrating because it does take a little bit longer than a quick whoosh of glue. But if I'm wanting to do a nice job of something and get it really nice and smooth and flat, then this is the best way to stick down card to card. So tear tape all the way around, and I pull the corners away and I just clip them so that you can see them and you can grab the end of them. All you want is enough sticking out at the side so that when you pull it, it's all going to just nicely unpeel. Okay, here we go. Whoops, let's have him the right way round. So here comes Dad with his little kiddie on his shoulders. And remember, we've made this a very tiny one, so there we go. Peel that away, peel that away, peel that away. Pull it and it peels away and it sticks down and you end up with a really nice, neat edge. And isn't that a pretty simple, lovely, very elegant, nice card to go with the other two lovely cards that I've already previously made? There you go. A good man, thankfully, is carrying over to the next catalogue. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.